Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a registered trademark of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated.
It must have been, it must have been, it must have been a happy time, time. It must have been, it must have been, it must have been a happy time, time. The sun would shine, the candy bars, Kool-Aid flowing like wine, the comic books, the TV shows, the bubble gum, the kitty cat.
I noticed you have a bottle opener on your keychain.
Yeah.
Do you have your keys on you by any chance?
They're up there.
All right. Well, I guess I could just ask you, do you have, how do you feel about keychains as a whole? Do you have any?
No, just that bottle opener.
Right, but that serves a practical purpose.
Yeah, and I like something to grab onto.
Oh, you mean to help you find your keys?
I'm talking about with my women. I like have something. No, yeah, like I like having the bottle opener in there. I'm not really about keychains.
What about your wife?
No.
Okay.
I don't think she has anything except for like the unlock fob. Definitely.
Yeah, I've got a fob
like...
on my keys, and I've got a little thing that it's not a flashlight because it's smaller than the size of a key, but you can press it if I lose my shit behind the couch or something.
Yeah, I have a cell phone light for that.
Oh, okay.
But it's not like like mom's keychains.
That's where I was getting at. That's what my note says, mom's keychains.
Some of them had like little snappies on them to where she could unhook it as a whole. And they were always like a Beanie Baby is a keychain. Like,
right.
But of Winnie the Pooh or Minnie Mouse.
But basically full size. Did you ever borrow mom's car, like once you got your license?
Yeah.
I did too for a couple of years there whenever I was having problems with mine. Or I took the bus over because I didn't have a car, but I wanted to go to the store or something. And it was always like, unless you were wearing the baggiest pants known to man, there's no way to carry those things in your pocket.
Yeah,
she had multiple plush animals hanging off the side of it.
Yeah, and then plus always like pictures of somebody, like Melissa's school picture and a big plastic thing on there.
Yeah, or worse than that, most recently, I'd like to see her keys again. Is that worth reconnecting with her? She had a mini photo album attached to her keychain. Give me a break.
Yeah, it's way too much. But you see those sections of the store, and you see people shopping in those sections of the store, and they're always mom. They're like,
you're talking about the dollar store.
Yeah, I guess. So, well, I mean, like those. I think she probably spent a lot, like probably $5 per thing.
I don't doubt it.
On the Winnie the Pooh stuff.
That's the thing. Mama had a shopping addiction, I think it's fair to say.
It was a big problem.
But like it wasn't clothes. I mean, it was, but it was the Born to Sleep T-shirts or sleep, nightgowns or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But then in addition to that, her vintage lunchboxes. Have we talked about this on the show? Or
well, first of all, they're not vintage.
No, but they're made to look vintage, and Hallmark puts a $10 price tag on it
and fills it full of a little bag of lemon heads.
Right.
And, yeah, but
that Melissa sneaks into at 3 a.m.
She didn't buy shit like that when she was married to Dad.
She did. She bought a lot of cornball shit, a lot of needless knickknacks. Let's say.
I guess. I just remember it being more like after Melissa was born, it was tons of like baby clothes and baby toys and stuff like that.
Let's not make her sound like a good mother.
Well, I mean, I guess I kind of am because I don't really see anything wrong with buying that. I don't know what our financial situation was at the times. You always heard it was terrible.
Yeah, and because of mom's keychain obsession or whatever.
It couldn't have been because of that.
Dad never spent money from what I remember.
Yeah, but Dad just was addicted to being miserable. Like he didn't want to spend money on it. He didn't want to have fun. He wanted to sit around and be mad at everybody.
Yeah. And I guess he paid for his necessary cable and things like that. It's just not things that he brought home.
There was plenty
shopping bags.
Plenty of wasting money in that house, and it wasn't all mom's keychains and baby toys buying.
All right. And I mean, I guess it's as far as like buying Melissa clothes. I know your wife loves to go shopping for your daughter. Yeah. And then even yesterday when we were going to the grocery store because she'd been a good girl or whatever the hell, we spent 10 minutes in the toy section, which is kind of fun for me. Is that fun for you? Because I remember how fun it was for us even when we weren't promised the toy just to look at them.
It depends. Sophie doesn't want any of the toys that I would have wanted as a kid and then now but I like to look at games and try to talk Alvina into buying Risk, which, by the way,
Not for Sophia.
No, I was talking about like for us. But I know she would have bought it. But like I saw her eyes look down to where it cost like $25.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'll never play that game, even though that's bullshit. Because she told me she wanted to play it. She just didn't want to spend the money on it. And then she always tries to get she never lets Sophie get what she actually wants.
There was like 3 different changes of hand. Sophie would think she'd want.
Yeah.
But
Alvina whispered to me at one point. She was like, "Which one do you think we should persuade her to buy? Like between these 3 things." And she really got the lamest one.
Yeah, but it's teaching her letters.
Yeah.
She seems to already know her letters pretty well. Although on the way to the grocery store singing her ABCs, apparently W, X, Y, and Z doesn't exist to Sophie.
She skips some shit. She skips verses of songs too.
And you're saying she's never into the toys that you'd be into as a kid, but you don't remember what toys you were into at 2.5.
I used well, that's true, but like I think things are fun, like the sticky hands that like you throw onto the wall.
Yeah.
But then I remember they never worked. They pick up any little piece of hair or anything. They're disgusting after 2 hours.
Yeah, and I pointed out there was like surveillance team, and it's like fake handcuffs and a notebook.
She might like that stuff when she's like 8.
Oh, we loved that stuff, but we always were disappointed once we cracked it open and it wasn't as cool as the box made it look.
We never got any of those old Spy Gear toys though.
There
was always like no way, because
we made our own out of construction paper.
I
that
guess,
we had to steal because they didn't even buy us
these
that.
made it look like you could see every footprint that was in the living room.
But that's never the case. That's what I'm saying. Toys are misleading with their packaging and their advertising.
Yeah, but we definitely never had it because I was never let down by it. I was always left wanting.
I'm trying to think of my favorite toy as a kid or the dream toy that I never got. And in fact, this may seem familiar to listeners because I feel like I talked about this somewhat recently. But my expectations were so low that I would fall asleep at night dreaming about getting the little plastic ice cream cone with the foam ice cream that shoots out, but still stuck to a string. So
I wanted one of those for a long time. I also wanted one of the mustard bottles from Pee-wee's Big Adventure that just shoots out.
I wanted
a
every
yellow
toy
string.
in that scene.
Yeah, I remember you really badly wanting like a dual cassette boombox one year for anniversary.
I was very specific when I was it was our Christmas list, but it was Mom and Dad's anniversary.
Yeah.
So it was an anniversary list and dual cassette boombox / recorder or some shit. And I remember they did buy me that. They came through whatever year that was. I was probably 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And Weird Al's Off the Deep End. Thanks very much. And I remember literally it was like a camping anniversary trip.
Yeah.
So we were opening our presents in our shitty trailer or whatever. And I got that boombox. They gave me the batteries. They gave me that Weird Al cassette. I'm sure I ditched you or you were following along and I was ignoring you.
I remember that being very boring.
And I did I want to say Radio Raheem. The thing where you put the boombox up like on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I'm cranking like a Nirvana spoof to people that don't give a shit.
You're just walking around?
Yeah. Walking around the whole campground thinking I'm the shit, dude.
What did I get that year?
I don't know.
I don't remember at all.
You had a Roger Rabbit stuffed animal I know that you were really into as a kid.
Yeah, that was way
until
younger.
Daniel stole it.
I think
you just accidentally left it at his house.
I left it
and
in
then
California.
It smelled like cum the next time you were there.
I left it in California once and I was devastated. They said they were going to mail it back to me, but I can't remember if they ever did.
No, and I think we were set to visit them again about a year later, and nobody knew what you were talking about, supposedly.
They were talking about the time I lost a Garfield watch in a restroom.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever tell me? I was fucking there.
No, I mean, did I ever talk about it on the podcast?
No, you didn't. Hold on a second.
We were... It might have been on one of these times when like we would go camping in different spots, like...
I remember it being an
2
actual
days
rest
each
stop.
for a
Like
week.
we were on some kind of road trip, and
Yeah.
we just pulled off the highway to go pee.
Yeah, that was probably it. But there were swings and stuff. Anyway, I was very young. In fact, I think you're right. We were driving either to or from like California.
Right. And so proud of these watches.
Yeah.
They got us both a watch. Yours was Garfield. Mine was Alf. But they weren't just like your normal shitty Casio pastel colors. It was like an actual, almost
a stuffed animal.
Yeah, there's a stuffed animal, a little one.
Yeah.
Little enough to fit on your 8-year-old wrist, but you had to flip up this big plush head in order to get to the part where you can see the actual time.
Yeah.
But we fucking love the shit out of that.
Yeah. And
did I even like Alf?
I liked your watch better than I liked mine, I remember. So yeah, I had the Garfield one, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so we stop at this rest area and we go to the bathrooms And then we came out and we're driving and we're maybe like 5 miles down the road or something like that. And I realized that I left this watch there, and I'm just like devastated.
That's because you take your watch off whenever you take a piss?
I think I washed my hands or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
that plush toy is just going to get mad at it if it's in the way, yeah.
So, like, I put it on the counter or something, and I was like, I don't have it. And, like, I really wanted it, and I'm
sure you were crying.
I knew I was going to get in trouble. Like, I was really scared to tell them.
Because this is Tyrant Dad, as a reminder.
Yeah. So I told Mom. And then, like, Mom tells Dad, and I think he got pretty upset. I can't remember.
Yeah, he bitched the whole. Yeah, he made the whole drive back.
We're adding 10 minutes onto a 14-hour drive. Yeah. Who cares? It's fucking having an adventure. So we turn around and go back, and Mom takes me out, and we go and we're looking on the count in the bathroom counter and stuff, and it's not there. Looking at the garbage cans and stuff, and it's not there. And there was this play area where there was like these swings. And there was these 2 kids swinging, and then their parents.
About your age? About our age?
About our age, yeah. And then their parents were just kind of standing there looking on. And so we walk up to them, and Mom says, "Did you guys find a little watch, a little toy Garfield watch? It's a big stuffed animal head."
Did you find the most ostentatious wristwatch in California by chance?
And like the guy looked at me, and I was like very sad and crying and stuff like that. And he looks at his wife, and she kind of nods to him, and he sighs like, and he just pulls it out of his pocket. He's got it. He fucking found it, and he was keeping it for himself. But and now he looks like a thief, and but I'm crying, so he gives it back. It was a
lucky break. That I foresee, like, Dad was probably still pissed when he came back in the car because, like you said, 10 minutes out of our way.
Well, I remember this is how I remember we're going to California, because Mom told like everybody that story afterwards, and of course
That's barely a story. It took us 100 and some odd episodes to get to that bullshit story.
But she was very much like a superhero in the stories. Like, and I said, "I see a bulge in your pocket, empty them." And
I chased that watch halfway down to Fred Meyer.
And I just remember her always telling the part was, yeah, and he just looked at PJ's fat face and
fat face,
faggot face. And he was crying, and they gave it over.
A similar story. You probably won't remember this because I only have like very vague memories of it. We were really young. We were still living in that house in Fircrest, and we were coming back from a road trip. I don't know from where. I feel like Yakima, and we were, I'm gonna guess, 50 miles outside of town. And me and you are both complaining that we have to use the restroom, and Dad's yelling at us, telling us to wait because he doesn't want to pull over. That'll take too much time out of his doing nothing when he gets back. It's not like he had an agenda.
Some bologna sandwiches waiting. Yeah. I think he wanted to get home, get all this shit unpacked,
right?
Sit down on his chair. He just always wanted to make good time, and I'm really like that. I don't love stopping, but I stop for my kid to pee.
I don't love stopping either, but if I were Dad, like, at least if we're stopped for 5 minutes, letting us do our business, then he can think of more reasons to hate Mom and have that 5 minutes to himself, you know? But he refused to stop, and he was being a dick about it. And then I remember we got home, and I at least had totally shit my pants because he never pulled over. And I was terrified to tell him, of course. And I remember, again, these are all vague memories. I'm probably filling in some details. But I remember
How
the
old
most...
are you, like 4?
Yeah, how old are you when you shit your pants because your dad won't pull over? Yeah, I'm going to guess 4 or 5. Very young. And one of my first memories, and what a great one it is. But yeah, I remember it was at least me, but I want to say you shit your pants too. Although you were probably diaper age still at this point. And so I remember we get home, and I'm just terrified thinking Dad's going to find out. And I remember we get out. It was a nice day, so we were hanging out outside. And I pulled Mom aside, tearful, and told her what I'd done. And then, so Mom doing a very nice mom-like thing, and one of the few I remember.
Mom loved you.
She did. But I remember to cover for it because Dad was inside, so if I was changing clothes, he was going to ask why. I remember she saw the situation in my pants. I pulled my pants down, and then she pulled out the hose and started spraying us like, haha, we're having fun. Got all the shit off my ass. And then when Dad came out, or we came in wet, like that, there was the excuse. Mom just decided to have some fun with us with the hose.
Yeah.
Nice story, right?
It's probably a really cold day.
I like that you're looking for negatives.
Fuck you, Mom.
Looking for negatives. No, I
It
think
was never hot out there.
is it possible that's the first positive mom story I've ever told on this show?
I don't know.
They're few
man.
and far between.
I mean, I just still view it as a sad story. Like she had, like she's afraid to bring us in shitty pants because she knows that like we're all gonna get yelled at.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very unpleasant. So yeah, I mean, I understand where Mom had a miserable life. It's just that she says that that's why she raised us bad. I was in a loveless marriage.
Yeah.
Lots of people were in and are in loveless marriages.
In one of Neckfurter's more recent emails to me, one of the two, or no, it was the one she had sent to Lori that we read on episode 97. But she had made a point to say, like, I have no doubt that the way the way that your nephews are treating their mom is responsible for all of her mental illness.
Yeah.
Does Dad ever think that he played a big part in that?
Yeah, I know.
19 years of miserable marriage is not going to get into her head a little bit?
Yeah. See, the thing is that if we never had a podcast, and if that's what she's saying is the cause of all of Mom's depression, pretty sure Mom would still be depressed, and you and I would probably be pretty depressed too.
Yeah. This is getting me through my depression.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that we didn't upset Mom or disrupt Mom's life with this show, but that was her fault for listening. And I say the same to Neckfurters.
Yeah, and also, man, if you're like a fucking terrible parent, I mean, I know that they don't realize back then.
Check yourself, yeah. Recognize.
There's no idea. Like, I can worry now. Like, if I'm a bad parent to my kid, then they'll go on the internet. Then maybe she'll go on the internet or whatever that is.
Whatever. Yeah, the internet is in 18 years. Yeah.
And Mom had no idea that was going to happen. But I mean, that's no excuse to raise your kids really shitty. Like, you take responsibility. If we became murderers or something like that, I mean, that should weigh on her conscience, too. That should make her think she failed as a mother.
I do have a criminal record. Capital C, capital R. Do you think I'll be a good dad?
Yeah.
Or I would? I haven't decided yet.
As long as...
As long as what? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, as long as it's not like with storytelling or something like that.
Oh, so you're saying, the wife plays a big part.
You'll be a good dad if I really like the mother. That's what I was saying. No, that's not true. If you were a dad, and whether or not you were married at the time, or if you had a girlfriend, I would put aside all that awkwardness and spend as much time with your kid as
even if he's ugly,
Sophie.
which he inevitably will be.
Yeah, and even
I gotta
if we're
go mixed race. I gotta go mixed race, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, dude. There's
even
no
if my
chance.
kid is cute, he or she won't be as cute as Sophie because they don't have that nice olive skin, you know?
Yeah, you gotta get it.
I know.
How
I like the Asians. Would that work as a kid?
I think little half Asian, half white kids are pretty cute.
Okay.
Alvina works with a white and yellow couple.
Yeah, pedigree.
And and they have a mixed race, 2 of them, cute kids. But no, and then it would be awesome to see. But you got to do it soon because we want them to be.
I realize I'm turning 30 tomorrow. Is that
friendly cousins? No, I'm talking about before Sophie gets too old.
Oh yeah,
so they can be cousins who are tight.
Yeah, because we were way older than some of our cousins and never struck up any sort of real relationship with them.
But
I mean, later on with some of them, but
with some of them, yeah. But the ones that were our age, like Tim. A big part of my life.
Or April and Amy. Like when we'd come to Yakima, they'd be our hangout buddies.
Yeah. We weren't left behind. Tim was usually left behind.
Kirk Cameron. So, how do you feel about making the rest of this episode just about us being kids? Because I have another story.
Okay.
This one is when Grandma... No. Maybe Mom... No. Let me start again, PJ.
I remember Grandma yelling at me once. I remember her putting me in the corner once. Those are my beefs with Grandma.
For what?
I don't remember what she yelled at me about.
Let's explain the corner. It's a long, narrow hallway in the back of the house.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and that she would put out a kitchen timer, and she'd give kids 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on the severity of their crime.
Yeah.
But we were Grandma's grandchildren, and she ran the daycare, so I felt for, the most part, we avoided that area.
Yeah,
we didn't get put in the corner that often.
But it's also
kids hated us because of that.
It's also not like we spent a lot of time in that daycare when it was Grandma's daycare, though.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot of those memories. I mean, I guess I kind of do because all the Chris Klein days were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. It was just when we were so much younger, but yeah, I remember I had to go. She sent me to the corner when I had brought a Coca-Cola jump rope from our house there.
Did you steal it from Mom's collection?
I like brought it. I had been playing with it or something like that. And then Josh Swigert took it from me. And,
Facebook friend?
Yeah, and he was playing with it out in the backyard. And I was like, I'm going to go tell my grandma. And he's like, go ahead. So I go inside and I duck down under the little window for a minute or so.
Uh-huh.
And then I go outside. I go, Josh, she's mad. You got to give it back to me. And then he's like,
now, why didn't you actually? You were the tattletale type, so why didn't you actually?
Grandma didn't like tattletales very much.
No, that's true.
Although
she also didn't like you chewing gum.
If
Don't
I
bring
go
that
back,
into her daycare.
one thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about how Mom would shop all the time. When we were with her those days, I would like add up her receipts in my head, and the first thing I would do when I got home was tell Dad how much money she spent.
Good God, PJ.
Yep, I remember that. I admit that. So anyway, I didn't want to tattletale to Grandma, so I just came back outside, and I was like, she said you got to give it to me. And then Josh like totally calls my bluff for no reason and comes inside, and he's like, did you tell PJ that I had to give the jump rope back? And then so I had to go in the corner for lying, and he had to go in the corner for stealing the jump rope.
So you guys are still stuck next to each other.
Yeah.
Brewing over with
and
anger.
I'm probably like bawling my eyes out, thinking I'm in prison or something like that. I was very emotional.
Maybe this is a retread, because this leads me to a story that I'm pretty sure I told, which is the one time I remember being put in the corner was Grandma had freshly painted the toy room.
Yeah.
And the kids were allowed in there, which is dumb enough. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
But then, I stupidly leaned my ass over against the wall trying to mac on some chick or something.
Immediately after she said, don't lean against the wall.
And I couldn't, deny it because it was all over my fucking pants.
Yeah.
So I got sat in the corner for that one, and I couldn't believe it.
I should have stood up for him and been like, I pushed him.
At least then we would have been in the corner together.
Then you'll owe me one. And then I remember the time that she screamed at me. I was either fighting with you or fighting with Mom.
I'm going to guess me. Mom.
And she told me to shut up.
Grandma did?
Yeah.
I thought that was a bad word in Grandma's house.
I heard her tell our step-cousin Angie on the phone once to shut up.
Really?
She was like, Angie, shut up. That was wicked.
I'm trying to think, aside from the paint incident, if I've ever gotten on Grandma's bad side. You were trying to fuck your girlfriend in her shower, so I understand her anger there, but...
That was way later, dude. She never got mad. She was not mad at me about that. She had a very Christian
You're right.
Let's
keep this episode to the 80s. I'm sorry. I won't bring up any recent shit now. Tell me how much you remember of this. I'm going to say Grandma was still in charge of the daycare, but Mom at this time was her full-time helper.
Yeah.
So we were there every day. But we were also getting a little bit older. I'd say maybe 11, 12 years old I was. And we came up with the idea, probably based on some episode of Salute Your Shorts or whatever was on at the time, that we were going to start a newspaper for the daycare.
Yeah.
And we were going to run down to the library, pay our 5 cents a copy, print out 12 because that's the amount of kids are allowed.
I think this literally came from because we saw that there was a copy machine at the library. And we saw that there were newspapers at the library.
Was it just me and you writing?
I don't know. I think we hired staff.
Yeah, Stephen Glass was a bad choice. That was a bad kid at Grandma's too.
We really set him wrong on a dark path.
No, but I remember doing doodles and stuff for it. But I was thinking about that recently. It just popped in my head, and I can't remember why.
Called?
I wrote down Daycare Gazette as a note just so I would know to write that, but we probably didn't even know the word Gazette at the time.
It was probably like Daycare Daily News or something.
Yeah, which is still not that bad. But what amazes me when I remembered that was... we're pretty much
Daycare
doing the same.
Digest.
What's that?
Daycare Digest.
Was that it?
I don't remember. I'm guessing that's what it was.
But when you really break it down, all of our articles, I can't remember the girl's name, but there was one girl that we hated, and she thought she was so hot. This sounds so ludicrous because we were all 11, but we thought she was the most disgusting creature, mainly because of her personality. I think I remember having a crush on her physically, maybe, but. Pull this girl's name after I tell you what I'm going to tell you. One of our big front page spreads was about this girl, whatever her name was, and the fact that we had learned earlier in the week playing outside with her that she claimed to be a Barbizon model, which I don't know if that's a local thing, but, put your kids into modeling. And the article basically consisted, this girl says she's a Barbizon model. Look how ugly she is. And that's basically what we're doing now.
Oh my god, that is.
Do you not remember that?
exactly
Do you remember the girl I'm talking about?
I do. I can't remember her name. I remember that one time she was wearing some dress, and all day she was talking about how she was going to someone's birthday, like we were gonna squirt her with water guns, and she was like, "No, Dylan, I'm wearing a dress." And we had to hear all day that she was gonna go do something, and then she came out at one point and she goes, "Well, you guys can get me wet all you want, I guess. My uncle fell down and broke his neck, and now we're not going to the party." You don't remember that story?
No.
It was something like that.
I'm sure I laughed the same way I did
her
just
uncle
now.
or her mom or someone like broke their neck on the stairs, and
did we feel like assholes? Did we get put in the corner?
No, I don't think they died or anything. We got her wet. She said we could. We can spray her now. I do remember that girl.
I do remember getting that girl wet a couple of times. And God, I wish I could remember the other article, but I thought it was funny that it was all trash talk. I think we
I'm sure we got in trouble for it, right?
Page 5, Anthony Pangolin pees his pants sometimes. I think that actually was one. And we did like 2 issues, and then we got in trouble by either mom or grandma.
Yeah, I mean, those kids are taking that shit home to their parents.
I'm expecting a lawsuit from Anthony Pangolin at any time.
Yeah.
What if he still has a copy of the Daycare Digest?
Dude,
and he looks at it when he wants to get angry.
I was
and
afraid
beat
of
his
that
wife.
guy last time I saw him. Which
Yeah,
was like 10 years ago.
He had thug written all over him.
Well, his dad was a pretty big guy.
You remember going, still kids, still 80s. Do you remember going randomly fishing with Anthony's dad?
Like 3 days in a row.
Yeah, they lived like a block down from us, and I had a big crush on his sister, even though she was a freak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, randomly, because our dad, we had fishing poles. I think Dad decided one weekend, like, hey, I'm going to teach my kids to fish because this is a sport where I don't have to do anything except for yell at them. So that was miserable, and it didn't last, but he'd bought us fishing poles, so we had them. And somehow that came across to Anthony's dad, who we didn't know at all. Like, we had more of a relationship with Anthony's mom, if anything.
Yeah.
When we'd go to hang out at their house, she was the one that was always interacting with us.
Didn't she kind of work at the daycare?
I don't know that she worked at the daycare. She did something for the daycare because I would walk with her to Fred Meyer every day.
Yeah.
And she'd smoke cigarettes and I'd judge her.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd go out with Melvin out onto the fishing boat.
And Anthony. No fishing boat. We were off a dock.
Oh, that's right. But we'd hang out there for hours, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I didn't have much fun, but it's weird that a neighbor dad that we barely know is taking upon himself to take us fishing because our dad's watching Bloodsport 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you and I talking about that too. Like, I bet Dad offers to take us fishing next weekend.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Something like that didn't happen. Now, I remember doing that. It was like us and Melvin. It was Wapato Park right there.
Yeah. And I think about that every time I have driven by there as an adult. And why? Why was that his responsibility? I mean, he volunteered it. And he's like, hey, these scrawny kids want to learn how to fish, right?
Yeah, I think we were over hanging out at his house all the time, and he was like, he knew that we had never been fishing. I'm sure that came up, and he offered to take us. That's kind of weird for Dad. I wonder if Dad thought about it. He probably did feel guilty and then like get mad at us for it.
I don't think Dad felt guilty until the whole mom explosion happened.
He was probably
anything.
just very unaware. Like, he just tried not to think about it.
Yeah, he blocked it all out.
But
I didn't get any apologies.
But that's because you feel guilty.
Yeah, and I did not get a single apology from Dad until I was an adult. And most of the stuff he's apologizing for up until recently was stuff he fucked us up as kids.
Yeah.
Is that not clear? Have we not made that clear?
I mean, but the thing is, like, a lot of people have these stories.
Oh, are you in defend Dad mode? I'm sorry.
No. A
Want me
lot
to
of
wait
people
outside?
have these stories where, like, one time, their dad really humiliated them or something, or, like, just went off the charts mean. But I think a lot of them, and this might be, again, just movies talking, but, like, there's kind of a making up situation afterwards. Like, you would apologize later and maybe talk about it a little. There was none of that going on. And the thing is, it wasn't like occasionally this would happen. This is how he reacted to us in every single situation.
Right.
Was just like an unapproachable asshole.
And I think you mentioned in a recent episode when I was editing, you said jangling keys, and we didn't really expand on that.
Yeah.
But even when we weren't in trouble for something or thought we were in trouble for something, if we were, like, say, at a Kmart and we're wandering around the toy section, Dad's coming from a mile away because he's not a janitor, but he sure has the keys of a janitor.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's that instilled so much fear in me as a kid. Whenever you hear the keys approaching,
Yeah, I remember
you know
it
that
being
he's going to come up, and whether you've done something bad or not, he's going to yell at you.
Yeah.
It's
And
amazing
and that's
how
the
much
thing.
fear he put in us.
Yeah, it was not an occasional thing. It happened all the time. Like, you're conditioned to be afraid when you hear the keys after it's gone wrong so many times hearing those keys approach.
Right.
We only had the occasional, like, oh, for some reason he's giving me a noogie or wants to go play basketball on the little court
That's usually
outside.
only happened when, they were having a card party or something and inviting couples over, Jehovah's Witnesses, and playing up the good mom and dad routine. But even then, they weren't that good at it. Like, I don't think that Pam and Terry ever bought that.
Dude, I can't even imagine what those couples would think. Like,
We
what
were
they
a mess.
actually were thinking at the time.
Yeah.
Like, in their heads, because, back then I didn't know that, like, adults will just drive home and just talk about, oh, look at that freako kid.
Right.
The same way that you and I do, or especially me and Alvina do. God, what were they saying? That's all I want to know.
I don't know. It's weird that mom and dad would hold parties at their house.
Yeah, I think that they would get invited and, like, go to some. There was a time where they really tried to be social with certain crowds, and those were the only times they were going to meetings regularly. If you think about it, it was just when
Because they were lonely. That's the only reason.
It was when they were trying
were
to be
bored
these
with each other.
people's friends, and then, like, if those people, if they kind of felt distant, their meeting attendance would way drop down, or they would switch Kingdom Halls,
Yeah.
like, and start new. But yeah, so I think that they would get invited to these card parties and, like, oh wow, we're at a very nice house. This is a lot of fun. Oh yeah, we'll host it next week, and it's like stains on the wall, smells like ass.
Yeah.
And
God, that house was so embarrassing.
and you're just because of you have nothing else to talk about, and you're so nervous about how it's going, you just yell at your kids the whole time.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. They were pretty fake with, like, they weren't actually noogies and stuff like that. But I do remember those card parties, and I'd be getting called out on certain shit, like in front of all these parents. Like I tried to swipe a thing of candy once, and Dad, like, no, I think Mom really, like, fucking freaked out on me.
Didn't you already have your second Diet Coke of the day,
Yeah,
PJ?
I remember one time we were there, and there was adults sitting on the couch, and I kind of plopped down on the couch, and I had, like, this orange High C whatever.
Ecto Cooler?
No, it was a soda.
Okay.
It was a soda. Minute Maid Orange. That's what it was. And like, Dad just starts laying it. Like, I plop down, all happy, go like, "Yo, this was fun." Sitting right next to him.
We were so excited to have company.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just our terrible family.
Yeah.
Like,
And
at
he-
least they're putting on a show for that amount of time.
He just turns over and starts, like, just going on and on about how I didn't ask permission, and how when all these people are here, I take so much advantage, and I think I can get away with anything, and I have no manners, and I just plop right down. And then he starts doing for them an impression of how I drink soda, of how you and me drink soda, where like, we take 2 little sips and then 1 big sip, and then we stop, and then we take 2 little ones and 1 big one. And he's like, "Oh yeah, it goes right through it," and blah blah. And I'm just sinking down into that couch more and more. He was ridiculing me in front of all of these people.
Yeah.
Nick Keogh's dad, Terry Bendixson. Embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Just going back briefly, you had mentioned, like, and it wasn't as big of a deal for you, I don't think, but when people, even family or stuff, like when, let's say, Uncle Russ would come over randomly for a weekend because there was a district convention in town, and rather than, they didn't have much money at the time, so rather than getting a hotel, they'd often stay at our house. And our house was disgusting.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a huge house, and the house we lived in before, from what I remember, and based on home videos that I recently watched, the house wasn't that bad then.
Yeah, it was cluttered, and it's kind of like mine, like cluttered and
Somewhere between
easy to pick up.
when they moved out of the house on Fircrest and into the one on D Street, they both just stopped caring about life.
It was too much. Yeah, and it was too much house for them. And,
Yeah, 8 bedrooms.
Yeah.
But that house was, there's no excuse. I mean, dust is one thing, but this place was just a wreck. And the carpet was fucking nauseating. And Mom, at this point, like, she'd just given up. The box wine and the soap operas had started this time, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember being so humiliated by our house. And when Uncle Russ announces that they're going to be there in 2 days, I take it upon myself as a 13-year-old to clean the house from top to bottom,
Not
like
me.
nook and cranny cleaning.
I'm sitting in the background going, "Hey, Danny Tanner."
You did call me Danny Tanner a lot. I mean, that's where my OCD comes from. And I know I look like a slob in everyday life, and I've said it before. But when it comes to my personal area, it's got to be super meticulous, super clean. And I think that's mom and dad's fault for raising us in such a gross household.
It's not a bad thing, though. It makes you indispensable as
It's
a
not a
friend.
bad thing, but it's also a condition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, I'll have to wake up. Example, I caught a 9:15 bus the other day to come here to Yakima. I woke up at 6 because I knew my bathroom wasn't clean and it needed to be clean, and make my bed, with all the perfect folds, and fold my laundry because I'd been so drunk the night before. I knew that I couldn't do it then in the way that
Just because you don't want to come home to a dirty one, or
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's something about, like, I wouldn't be having as much fun recording with you right now if I knew my bed wasn't made when I went back
Really?
home. Yeah. It's really
Wow.
weird, dude.
Does it weird you out to come and we
No.
never clean our bathroom? It's
No.
just your space.
No, see, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
I can go to other people's houses, even the trashiest of people, and I don't care because I'm hanging out, I'm having fun. But it's all about my own personal space. But I feel like that would have happened if mom picked up a feather duster once in her life, you know?
I mean, I guess, but I mean, it didn't affect me at all.
That's true. I don't know.
Not in that way. I think I have obsessive qualities. I can't really think of any on that scale. I count a lot. That's about it.
Yeah, what about OCD? Because I remember you used to have a thing where when you were changing up the dial on the TV, the volume,
Yeah.
it had to be an even number, right?
Yeah, I
Is
like-
that still the case?
Yeah, pretty much.
How do
I
you
like-
feel about 15s and 25s? I feel like that
Those-
one's okay for me.
Those are different. That's like
That's a prime number.
no. That's like if I bite my lip in a certain way, then I'm going to start doing that in multiples of 5.
Really?
Yeah, and it's got to be just right. So then I'll go to 5, 10, 15, 25. When I'm counting, when I'm walking, it's the same thing as volume. I'm counting every step,
Yeah.
and it has to end on even number right foot.
Interesting.
So I mean, those are my little things,
Right.
And
And
I wish it was something as useful as
cleaning.
needing a clean house. Yeah,
But your house is not unclean. Mine's just too clean.
yeah.
And that's the only reason I got that gig. My roommate got me a job working at the place she works, but just like once every couple of weeks, going in and cleaning when they're closed. And it's only because I moved in and was a clean freak. Like I got all the stains out of our living room carpet like right away. And I wouldn't have judged her like if I was just hanging out there. But this is my house too now, you know.
Yeah. So you just you get a shampoo or you go hands and knees?
Hands and knees, Resolve, $6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't do a bang up job, but it's good enough.
Yeah.
It's better than staring at old cat vomit.
Are you doing it like right in front of her as an asshole in your first week? Like, I'm gonna clean these carpets. I'm gonna leave this can right here.
Yeah.
No, that's what I like about you. You're not an asshole. And even
No,
as,
I don't care. I literally don't care.
even as kids, you were an asshole about it. Like, I don't really remember.
yeah, you and your stale bologna
yeah,
that
but
you
I
used
don't,
as a
I don't
bed
remember
sheet.
you ever giving me shit about it.
No,
was
I don't
just
think I
always
did.
giving you shit about having a clean one, but you would never clean my room. Like, I know I asked you to clean my room a lot.
I think I did once because you offered me like a pin that I really wanted or something.
yeah.
But only once, and then within a week it's smelling like battery acid again.
Oh man, I always had big plans for. Like, I mean, I had a cool room.
You did. You had the bigger of the two rooms, but not initially.
It was the biggest.
We
of the
switched
4
like a
rooms
year
of
into
that.
living at that house.
Yeah.
Let's change rooms, and I like the idea just because it was a project for me.
Yeah,
I
but
can reorganize all my
I had
shit.
like a sweet window that looked right down on Barbara's house.
That's
awesome.
That's literally the reason, isn't it?
I don't. By the time we switched, I don't know if I knew her yet.
Oh,
but
okay.
It was definitely a plus. It was a great room.
I blame mom because she's the one responsible for cooking and cleaning and whatnot. But I want to blame her for the weird tics I have now. But then I stepped on a crack and I broke her back.
She can blame you for a lot right now.
Exactly. So okay, you have a weird thing about volume control, how many steps you take.
Numbers. I'm a numbers OCD.
Numbers
guy.
OCD. Yeah. Speaking of my roommate, I was watching. There's a show on VH1 now. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about people with OCD, and it has OCD in the
It's
title. of the
called obsessed or obsession or something.
All right.
Or obsessive.
So I come in one night and she's watching it, and it's just starting, and she's like, "Dude, it's about OCD. You should watch it with me," which I took as a dig. But rather than lay into her, I played along, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love this." So I sit and watch it, and it's terrible.
It gives me ideas for like new ticks to develop. It honestly does. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah. Well, these ones are crazy though. Like there was the lady that has to, check her stovetop or flip the light off and on a million times.
Yeah.
But there's this guy that fears that his words will hex people.
Wow. Okay.
And there's a lady that fears that she's evil. And if she talks, she'll, instill her evil into other people. So it's like all these crazy things that don't really qualify. That doesn't seem like OCD to me.
Yeah. I used to have fears like that when I was a little kid. Like I used to really.
You used to be a big hypochondriac.
Yeah, and but there used to be the things where like I was afraid that I was that I was gay, like that. And we've talked.
I had
about
that
how
too.
you have
Yeah.
the same fear. But there was things like, what if I grew up to be like a sick serial killer? And then like anytime I'd look at anyone, I'd be like, oh, you're so fucking sick. It's developing. It's getting in your head. But I mean, it never lasted for very long. There were several things like that. My OCD isn't reflective in actions. Well, maybe like if you really pay attention to the way I walk or something like that. But
I'm not going to want to sit on your couch.
It's all in my bed. I mean, it's all in my head. All my fears are in my bed.
Another lady on this VH1 show, she her fear was she was like 40 something, and she'd never gotten her driver's license because her OCD was that she would kill pedestrians the second she gets behind the wheel. And I will say that's why I didn't get my license till I was 23. I was sure I would kill a dude.
Yeah, and
I almost did on my driver's test. We've talked about that before.
You're much less
and
likely
still got an
to
84.
kill a pedestrian if you're also a pedestrian, I would imagine. Yeah, that's a fear, man.
But this guy and my roommate, JK, she wasn't trying to convince me, but she was sure that the host of this show, this new VH1 show, was Dr. Phil's son. And I almost want to believe it because I hate him just as much. Like, that's the reason I'll never see episode 2
Was his name McGraw?
No.
Oh.
But that doesn't necessarily mean anything in Hollywood.
No, but Dr. Phil's son is a doctor on some show. I think it's a show called The Doctors.
I know that one. I'm unemployed for over a year. I know what daytime TV looks like.
His last name is McGraw. He's also a McGraw.
All right, that's not him then. But this guy's a total douche. Like this lady, his job is to be the hammy host of this terrible TV show, but then also to help people through their problems, like private therapy sessions. Private, I mean, there's 4 cameramen in the room also.
So the host is not an expert?
No, I suppose he is in some bullshit way. Online course, I'm guessing. But his way of helping this woman deal with her fear of driving was to put her behind the wheel, like in some parking lot, and she starts driving like around cones and stuff, and he's throwing very realistic looking dummies under the wheel of her car as she's driving. Wow. Is that going to help her?
That is not the show I was thinking it was. Wow, that's sick, man.
Yeah.
And then do they claim it works after that?
I don't know. I'm sure we'll see. Like, it's not one of those things where they take on new patients every week. Like, we're going to have to follow these people through a season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and after episode 1, I was... I'll tell you which VH1 show I am really into.
Oh, VH1, of course. I was thinking like A&E, because there's a show like that on...
I think I said VH1.
Yeah, I know. But there's a show like that on A&E that comes on right after Intervention.
Are you thinking of Hoarders?
No, but there's another one. It's an OCD one.
Oh. I'd like to watch something with a little more class than the one I actually saw.
Well, that's what you're looking for.
Okay. I'll seek that out. I have cable. But another VH1 show that I am into now, only having watched 3 episodes, I started watching the first season of Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. Have you ever seen this?
No.
Oh, my God.
Shows like that, it's weird. Like, I'll enjoy them, but something about if it's 2 years old, I'm not going to enjoy it. Even though I know when it's on TV, it's already been like 6 months, but... I can't.
So you're saying you could jump into the recent season of Celebrity Rehab?
I don't know if I could be interested going back because, like, I've heard jokes about it and stuff like that.
I only watched it at all the first season.
I love Big Brother, but I don't go back and watch the first 9 seasons before I started watching.
I think you would if you do you take advantage of Netflix Watch Instantly?
No, not with my internet connection.
Most of that shit's on there. Anyway, my friend has that, and that's why I saw the first 3 episodes of Celebrity Rehab. First of all, Jeff Conaway, you're aware of him?
Mm-hmm.
What's Hickey from Kaneki like?
It's like a Hallmark card.
Why is that?
I don't remember.
I
the
don't
Y.
remember either.
I don't think there was a Y. A hickey from Kanicki.
No,
like
there's definitely a
Hallmark
Y.
card.
Otherwise, that doesn't make sense.
No, I think it's a setup with no punchline.
You're wrong,
literally.
and our listeners just gave up on the show.
Brush and brush and brush.
Also, he was on Taxi, correct?
Yeah.
This guy is a total mess.
I know.
Everybody else on the show, like you're making fun, like fucking Bridget Nielsen's on there and China, and they're making out in hot tubs and disgusting things. But this guy, Jeff Conaway, you just want to cry when you see him.
I
Like
know.
this guy is I already said a mess, so I'll
they
say
always show him all over Extra, Entertainment Tonight, scenes from the show. Like,
he'll be convulsing, and we're sitting there watching it while they put it to a Boys to Men song. Like it's
Isn't it-
fucking crazy.
and isn't he in like a very abusive relationship too?
They haven't got, like I said, 3 episodes in, so I don't know for sure where it's going to go. But his girlfriend is, at this point, sneaking drugs and alcohol in for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy's a mess, and every time he comes on screen, I fight back a tear. But everybody else on the show is ridiculous. The funniest character I feel like on that show is $1 million if you can pull the name, but the chick that got wrote out of Family Matters after the first or second season, the youngest daughter that then went into porn.
Jamie Foxworthy.
Oh, you got it.
We talked about her like
How-
yesterday or something.
How much did I say I give you? I'm going to cut that part out. You'll never know.
Remember I tried bringing her up when you were writing trivia questions for Trivia Night about 80s child stars.
Oh, yeah. Too obscure. Nobody knows her name except for you.
I don't know. I don't think you give your trivia audience any credit.
But from what I remember, the introductory episode of VH1, they had to have, but I don't remember them I don't remember them bringing her up as a porn star or even a former porn star.
Yeah,
But
I
they
don't
had
know.
to have said that.
I've seen the footage.
Anyway, she's
you ever look that up?
Huh?
Jimmy Foxworthy porn?
No, I'm not into the
I know, but
you know what I want to say.
You look it up.
Yeah, sure.
Just because she's famous.
No, you know what's funny about that, and then I'll get back to Celebrity Rehab, which everybody's dying to hear more
Celebrity
of.
porn first.
Yeah, celebrity porn. I think I saw bits of the Paris Hilton one
Uh-huh.
and maybe the Kim Kardashian one,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know. There's something about it, or even like when somebody does something stupid on camera, nothing to do with sex, but like
Yeah.
let's say Mark Wahlberg makes an ass of himself at an airport and they post it on TMZ.
Yeah.
I don't like watching that. Something
I
about
love
that makes me feel really uncomfortable.
I'll
watch it if TMZ happens to be on cable, but I don't seek that stuff out on the internet.
Really?
No.
I like it. I like even if I just read a link like John Hamm snubs reporter at airport.
No,
Well,
I don't
I'd
want
like
to watch
see
that.
I-
Did you see Bjork beat up that guy or that chick at the airport?
Yeah.
That is fucking amazing footage. I will agree with
I
that.
like seeing them act not like their characters and just going like, you wish you could be. Yeah, I don't know why I'm bringing up John Hamm. He's
Yeah,
never
tell
done
me he
anything
didn't
rude.
snub somebody at the airport.
No, I don't think so. But
Okay.
I like seeing just people being assholes, like a Seth Green or somebody like that who's like, no man, no. Wilmer Valderrama is kind of a dick anytime you watch him.
Quentin Tarantino's a dick too. I saw one of those one time.
But I enjoy
Bitching out somebody at Sundance. Like, of course you're going to get questioned at Sundance.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Paris Hilton sex tape a lot. Kim Kardashian one was lame.
Really?
Because
What do you mean by
she,
enjoyed it?
Never even got naked. Oh, like I liked it. I seek him out as soon as they're. I'm still waiting for the Chelsea Handler one to come on the internet.
Gross. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Oh, I do.
She's gross, though.
I know, but you just got to watch them.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something
jerk
really
off to
personal.
all of 'em.
Oh, not all of them.
No.
Paris Hilton?
Not the Jamie Foxworthy one for sure.
No, me neither.
I just look at
Paris
it.
Hilton?
Oh yeah, yeah. I rented that like on DVD once for like 2 weeks.
What's the uncomfortably accurate title for that movie?
One Night in Paris.
That's it. Yeah. I hear that has a commentary.
Just like China's is One Night in China.
Oh, right. Gross. Have you seen China's?
I've seen little clips.
Oh God, that's gotta be the most.
I've seen anyone you can name.
Tanya Harding.
Yeah.
Gross.
Little clips.
I don't know what compels you. Like, you know how gross they
Dude,
look with clothes on.
I recently did a Wikipedia search like celebrity sex tapes.
Sure.
Just to make sure that like there wasn't any out there that I didn't know about. And then Chelsea Handler comes along and I'm like, great, can't wait for that one to be up and around. Like I didn't get this one of, well, it wasn't even a sex one, but of that ESPN lady, Erin Andrews.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Someone took like a little tiny pinhole like video of her naked. It's supposed to be super fuzzy. Like I didn't go through the trouble of downloading that one.
I don't know. When I want to jerk off to a celebrity, I just pull up Bud Dwyer.
You know what they do though is that they like all these people that like to send out viruses and stuff. I don't know what the motivation is. I don't know if there is any, but
They send you a pop-up or an email. Lindsay Lohan's badge.
right. But like, so they'll set up websites like Chelsea Handler sex tape, so that when you download the link, and they'll pull like as many pictures as possible and stuff like that. They'll download the link, or they'll put the link on there, and then you download it, and it's a virus that screws you up. Which I think I did before on my old computer. I fell for a pop-up that said, "You have been looking at adult websites. If you are afraid of your boss or your spouse finding out, download this right now."
Oh God, that's such a
And
perfect way to get
clicked
you.
it. I clicked it, dude, and it fucking like the background of my computer screen turned red and shit like that.
I've gotten viruses on computers
gave that
before,
computer
but never
to
has
Larry.
it been like a scene from Hackers where it's like, shut down.
Yeah, this
Code
was
blue.
like you couldn't do anything.
That is so weird.
At all. So I will never download a movie. Well, first of all, I don't download them. I stream them.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night.
But like not until like I want to read it in a legitimate website first that it has become available. Because you see from websites like Radar Online, and it's like oh yeah, Chelsea Handler tape or Aaron Andrews tape is bait for malware or something like that, and they'll fuck up your computer. So rude.
You served a good purpose on today's show. All those celebrity porn seekers know what to avoid now.
I'm sure everyone knew that.
Yeah, everybody blew up their computer once.
Plus, by the time the Chelsea Handler one comes out, like they'll have clips of it on X videos or something, I'm sure.
Sure. Or somebody playing Chelsea Handler in a parody video.
Yeah.
Just real quick, going back to Jamie Foxworthy, I don't think they mentioned her porn, but I thought it was really interesting that she's on Celebrity Rehab for weed. And it's so ridiculous, and she has no screen time whatsoever because she's just sitting there observing everybody acting, Jeff Conaway doing an accidental tap dance.
She's not there because she has a problem. She's there because she had an agent. It was like looking for celebrities to come to rehab.
I don't doubt
I'm going to
that.
get you in. We'll say you're a big pothead. That's a very popular show.
Yeah.
You'll be seen every
I
week.
absolutely agree, but it still amuses me.
Jeff Conaway's there for like... okay,
To save his life.
I might as well get paid to go into rehab, so I'm there and I got a legit problem. But the girl who came in 9th place on American Idol that was in there,
Yeah.
like, that's ridiculous. Go do your own private rehab somewhere else.
There's a porn star on there,
Don't
too,
try to keep
speaking
up
of.
with China.
Have you ever heard of Mary Carey?
I only through that show.
Oh, okay. God, she's a dumpy-looking porn star. I don't know who'd find that video and stick with it. I really don't.
Was she like a current porn star, or is she like Julianne Moore in Boogie Nights?
They didn't specify. Oh, she's not old. She's
Oh,
just
really?
dumpy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Unless you like to double chin fuck, then I could see her being a draw.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Although the Mary Carey, the name sounds familiar. But maybe it's just from Celebrity
You're
Rehab.
thinking of that celebrity porn you found of Harry Carey.
I knew where you were going as soon as you said you were thinking.
Shut up. I'm so predictable. Can we go smoke?
I should have ended the sentence with you. Who's that Harry Carey?
It must have been, it must have been, it must have been a happy time. It must